Hey, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes and make sure we're all on the same page with the testing updates. I know they've been sending you emails, I've been posting stuff, but here's everything all in one spot, so I know that we're good. Let's start with time and the format. So remember, Monday, May 11th, 4 p.m. And they're saying to give yourself about 30 minutes to make sure you get your browser set up and all of that stuff. The test itself will be 50 minutes, and that includes the uploading. If for some reason you can't do Monday, May 11th, they do have a makeup date available. It's right there. If you plan on doing the makeup for some reason, reach out to me and let me know. But I'm planning on all of us doing this Monday, May 11th, 4 p.m. You can take it online. Any device is good to go. You will need to download a secure browser. Now, to my knowledge, it's the one that you use for the AP Classroom stuff, and I know we've been having a little bit of trouble getting that to work on all of them, but we're working that out with the tech folks right now, and I know that guidance has been communicating with AP Central as well. But you'll want to start trying to make efforts to do that. Hopefully this afternoon there will be a fix. This is an open note test. You can click on the link here and see what the AP folks say about the open note testing. They also have a page that shows you how to be successful, and of course the idea is, you're not going to try to cross-check every single thing with something in your notes, but with there being a secure browser, I think you want to print hard copies of your stuff. I mean, I don't know that you'll have access to your Drive accounts and everything on testing day. So you'll want your notebook of the notes you've taken in class. I know a lot of you were using your laptops in class, so I would try to get that stuff as organized as possible. Print out hard copies. Okay, the format: 2 FRQ questions only. Question 1 is the argument essay, and that's 60% of the score. You get 25 minutes to respond to that one. Question 2 is, it's similar to the FRQ ones that we've used in class all year long. It's the kind of FRQ that's just content application. Shouldn't be a lengthy reading passage. Shouldn't be a graph or political cartoon. It should just be content. They've changed a little bit of how they'll ask that, and we'll get to that here in a second. Question number 2, 15 minutes to respond. And so I won't go through all this. You can read it, but it's basically a little bit of upload time for each question. You can, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but it's on the slideshow, you can do handwritten responses and take pictures. I don't know exactly how that works. They do have a webinar for teachers here at the end of the month that I'm going to sit in on, and they're going to basically run me through this process of what you'll be seeing, and I'll be able to communicate that a little bit more clearly to you guys. I want you to go through this on your own time with a little bit more depth, but this is the scoring guidelines for the 2 questions. And it's very similar to what we've done all year long with the argument essay. Make a claim, and of course you can't just simply rehash the question, and you can't leave it open-ended. The team that's going to make the biggest Super Bowl jump this year is the Browns. Well, that's not taking a stand. You've simply restated it because you've picked something. You have to give a reason. The one thing I saw in the scoring guideline that we'll look at here in a second is you have to reference something that you'll talk about later in your essay. So these are a couple of modifications from the traditional argument essay scoring rubric. Okay, these top 2 things are things that I think we had been kind of asking for all year long. It was kind of weird to have a 2-item prompt. You need to use 2 pieces of info, but then it was worth 3 points. That seemed really difficult to score. They've added a point for that. They've added a point for C, and now you're giving separate points for the reasoning for your first piece of evidence, and then separately your reasoning for your second piece of evidence. So I think both of those make sense. The concern for us is they have eliminated row D, the alternate perspective. I know many of you were banking on getting 1 point only for simply conceding. The other side says that taxes should be high, and they're right. Well, bad news. That part is eliminated this year, so you'll have to earn your points through legitimate knowledge, which may be bad for some of us. Also, click on this link. This gives you a detailed scoring and exactly what you have to do to earn each point. That's very valuable. You need to look at that. The one change I saw that I mentioned with the thesis is down here. The thesis must contain one or more sentences that may be located anywhere in the response. So when you're picking your reason in your thesis, it has to be a reason that you're then looking to support later in your write-up. So I think that that should be something that we have been doing anyway, but they're making the point contingent upon that now. Question 2, it's similar to what we've done with content application. The difference here with the scoring is that they're going to ask you to apply the content a little bit more rather than just define and explain things. So instead of just describe divided government, now it might be explaining how divided government affects two different institutions, Congress and the president. How does that impact lawmaking? How might that affect something like the appointment of judges or something? Who knows? But it'll be more than just simple definition and explanation. It'll be a little bit more of applying those concepts across different units. So what's covered? Well, this is the stuff that I had said earlier. It covers units 1, 2, and 3. So this week we're working on unit 1. Next week, oh, that's cute, 1, 3, and 3. Well, it's 1, 2, and 3. So unit 1, all of the foundations of the country, Articles of Confederation, Declaration, Constitution, a lot of the Federalist Papers. Unit 2 is all of the branches of government, including separately the bureaucracy. Unit 3 is civil rights and civil liberties, and some of the 14th Amendment selective incorporation stuff. I have a video that goes through each of the required readings. I have a link here that gives you the actual text for all the required documents. Based on what I saw, every one of the required documents seems eligible for content. I know that units 4 and 5 aren't included, but I don't know that there are any of the required readings from units 4 and 5. So all the required readings should still be fair game. With the Supreme Court cases, I know they've eliminated FRQ 3, so you don't have to do Supreme Court application, but it's still very possible that content of Supreme Court stuff will factor into either of those FRQs. And so the only court case that doesn't fit into units 1, 2, and 3 is Citizens United. Everything else is fair game. And so I've included, if you remember the spoons game that we played, we had the chunks of, the cards that described the cases. I've posted that here for you to access as well. But listen, just having access to these documents doesn't do anything, okay? So don't get complacent and go, oh, good, here's all the Supreme Court info I need. Yeah, right there it is, but you have to do something with it to start to commit it to memory. So your review effort should include manipulating this information, doing something with it to try to prepare yourself. I know it's open note, but 25 minutes is not a huge amount of time. 15 minutes isn't a huge amount of time. It's going to be pretty difficult to search through all your stuff and find the content that you need. It'll be much easier for you to have that knowledge in your head. Here are some resources that are available. Remember, AP Central did a bunch of webinars. They're like an hour long. I think in the first half, based on what I've seen so far, the theme seems to be the first half of the video is them doing content. The second half of the video is them maybe working through some FRQs or writing with that content. Focus on ones that are units 1, 2, and 3. There's a bunch of stuff up there. Pick the areas that you're weak on. Look at those videos. AP Classroom FRQs should be open, I think. I'll have to take a look at that. I am unfamiliar with what it looks like from your end, but I think you have access to those FRQs that deal with units 1, 2, and 3 on AP Classroom right now. So that doesn't require me assigning them, to my knowledge. I'm also going to continue to put practice quizzes on for each of the subunits that we cover. There'll be multiple choice only, but I think that that's a great way for you to see to what degree you understand that info. What I'd like to do is try to post a practice FRQ on Friday to be due Monday, just so that we can get a little bit more practice with obviously the way the test will be asked. And then there's also this AP review, and this is like, that Barron stuff is pretty standard review material for standardized tests. They're making that available to y'all free online, so click on that link and fill out the info and you can get that test prep booklet. Here's what you should be doing. I posted this on March 22nd, the stuff that you should be doing to prep yourself for this test. particularly starting to get a look at the required court cases and the required documents. We have 3 weeks from yesterday before test day to cover 3 units. It's a lot of material. It's a lot of material. And so if you haven't started doing anything now to prep for this stuff, you need to. This is something I won't go through this much, but they sent out a survey to make sure people were still planning on taking the test. It doesn't affect your registration. You don't have to fill it out, but it was for their planning purposes, and I'd like to make sure that you're, I guess, continuing to get and receive emails from them. I think maybe 3 people responded. The names here have not. So if you haven't, just find that email and respond. Shouldn't change your status, shouldn't change your availability of accessing the test, but I think it would be helpful for their purposes and for mine to know that you're responding and seeing that stuff. Look, if I can do anything to help, so I'm putting on the review things. I am putting together the quiz questions. I'm doing video lectures. But if you have any questions, you got to reach out to me. I can't prep for you. You know, I was kind of in a wave of panic last night. I was like, oh my goodness, we got 3 weeks and there's so much content to cover. And then I kind of stepped back and thought, you know, I have already covered this content. It's not as though what we're doing here over the next 3 weeks is new information. This is stuff that we have done for the first 3 quarters of the year. Like, you have this knowledge already. But it does require you doing some legwork to review that material, organize it, and make sure you understand it. And so if there's anything I can do to help you with that stuff, please let me know. Right now, I plan on doing video lectures based on the content that you said in the survey. I think only maybe less than half of you responded, but the areas that we needed the most work in, that's where I plan on doing some video lectures. So look forward to those. But again, just passively listening to this stuff or knowing that you have access to the material probably isn't enough. You need to be doing some things to make sure that you're working with that material to help you commit it to memory. All right? Thanks.